10% of all the new cars sold in Iowa come from the Karl Auto Group. Our neighbors trust us to have the largest selection and the highest standards. To our current customers, thank you. And to our future customers, see for yourself why Karl drives Iowa.
Your dealer for life, it's the Karl way.
They say the grass is greener where you water it. For me, that means being loyal, putting in the work, and being part of a community that raised me. Fairway, your home court advantage.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic Postgame Show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson, and I'm back with Chelsea Poppens. Woo woo! Thanks for joining us in the Northwest Bank Studios. Iowa State beats Utah 79-72, and we'll get into it, but let's thank our sponsors. As always, Karl Auto Group, the presenting sponsor all season long. We love Karl Auto Group. They love us, and they're huge Iowa State fans, so that makes it even better. And our friends over at Fairway Meat and Grocery. Guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. This is the perfect place to get some chocolates, flowers. If you have any questions, just, comment over there. Chelsea and I can help you. So check out Fairway Meat and Grocery for all those needs. All right. It was a big day for Iowa State athletics. Men take down Baylor. Iowa State softball got their first win of the season against Kansas City. And Iowa State beat Utah 79-72. A little closer than we thought it would be. But still a good game. One of my favorite things the announcer said was that this team is starting to look like the team that was, won 14 in a row and not the team that lost 5 in a row. So that's exciting. And I would have to agree. I think these past few games, Iowa State's looking more like themselves, more like they did at the beginning of the season. But what are some of your, thoughts right after this game?
Like you said, way too close of a game. First half team is the one that needs to be there and throughout the entirety of those 40 minutes. This is a product. I love a win. This is the product of a team that's faced adversity, a team that's lost 5 games in a row and had to adjust, and fans that stuck with the lows stick with the highs, still got to stick with the lows. And so, you're seeing that across the board when you see Crooks with 26 points, Jada with 14, AJ with 12, Sydney Harris with 12, 4 players in double digits. And that's exactly what we need moving forward. But we need that first half team, not that second half team. Actually, Sydney Harris did great in the third quarter.
The third quarter, yeah.
But I think that fourth quarter, we really lost it. And we can't have that. We have to be there all 40 minutes, not just half piecemealing it here and there. So we got to put a whole game together. I think looking at the stats, some things that really stand out are the O boards, 11-4. That's too many second chance shots by Utah. I liked our free throw percentage better.
Yeah, it's better.
When we're in the 70%, that's great. 3-point percentage, we've been doing really good. I love AJ 2.0. She is even I didn't think that she could get a more well-rounded player, but she's been fantastic ever since she came back from her injury. And I think she just like Coach said, she was rehabbing her heart out and working really hard to get back. And I think she just didn't want to take it for granted to finish out the season and not injure her knee. So I love everything about the type of player that she is now coming back. I guess I liked seeing Elisa Williams stepping up, making some adjustments, playing a little bit more. I'm going to be a little bit frank. I did think Crooks was a little soft in the first half. I'm just going to say it, but she showed up the second half. And I think it's difficult as a fan of Iowa State when we're so used to seeing her in the 30s and 40s points. You're like, oh, and you might think it's not as good of a game because people are looking on social media for the little highlight reels that trend. And when she's in the 40 or 30 points, that's amazing. But the well-rounded team you're seeing now with 4 players in double digits is the one that's going to succeed and go further in the long run.
We talked about I think last game she got 10 points with 2 minutes left in the game. And today she got 10 points in the third quarter. Do you think it's a little bit of her being a tad bit soft, or is it also a little bit of teams just knowing how to guard her, or is it a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like they obviously, you can expect teams to double down, double team or down low. They had to adjust because we were making threes. So that's the type of style of play that we're hoping to play. We want to be hitting the threes if they're taking Crooks away, that option down low, isn't open. And so like we did, yes, she was getting doubled. Yes, we were making threes on the outside, so their defense had to adjust. But there's some things where like as a post player that I'm watching, just like ticky-tack stuff of just like being gritty down low, being physical down low, being able to take a little bit of body from people. Like there's little things like that where I think like I as a post player, I'm like, you could like be a little bit stronger. But then she showed up in the second half doing her thing. So like, that's perfectly fine. We're all going to have minutes where we aren't playing our best and like playing the game that we're known for.
You talked about AJ, and do you think her coming back and just being such a well-rounded player is her knowing that she kind of had to step up with, Addie Brown being out? Or do you think it's just like she's just playing the game that she's always been able to play? We just haven't seen it yet this year.
Yeah, I honestly think that I don't know whether it's the mentality of like, Addie's out, I got to step up. I think it's more like she's always been that type of player. And now she has more opportunity to do it because coach is like giving the green light to everybody. And with her coming back, I'm sure like she is riding the momentum of the game that she came back. Like she had a stellar night and it's kind of just continued. So I think she just needs to keep doing her thing and getting hot and shooting her shot. Like she's a tremendous 3-point shooter. And that's the type of player that we need when we have Audie Crooks down low, typically in the double digits. And we know what teams are going to bring for that.
I want to talk about the fourth quarter. Obviously the third quarter was amazing. Sydney Harris making 3 after 3. But Iowa State didn't really keep that momentum going in the fourth quarter, and that's where they struggled, and that's where the game got a little bit too close. How does Iowa State close out the games that they need to close out and continue their momentum when they have a good quarter?
Yeah, I think you can't you can't like step down on defense. You can't give up easy buckets. Yes, like you just started hitting a little bit more, but you still got to play the defense that you're playing all the rest of the game. Just because you're up by 20 or whatever it was, like doesn't mean that you can take your foot off the pedal. Like you still got to finish strong. And I think that's a learning thing. For a lot of players who maybe, like I said, haven't gotten those minutes that are getting in, they have to understand that you can't let up, not in the Big 12, not on as we're approaching March Madness. Like you got to give it your all.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like there's still sometimes a little bit of hesitancy with the team. Like they're still forcing passes into Audie, or there's a little bit of stress. Do you think it's just, I don't want to say lack of leadership, because you can tell in these past few games that people have really stepped up, but do you think it's just someone needs to step up and slow the game down or take charge, or what do you think it is? Or is it just Iowa State ball that we're going to
I think like someone needs to step up and take charge. And if you look at our team, yes, last season, Addie Brown, Audie Crooks were probably the most vocal out there. But if you look at AJ, is not crazy vocal. She does her thing. She shows up. She does what she's asked. That's great. That's a role player. No one's asking her to be tremendously local. Some people lead through action. Some people lead through words. And I think it's hard when you have Jada Williams coming in this season and then asking her to be the leader of a team that she hasn't been on. And that's going to take reps. That's going to take games. And you're seeing it more and more in these, and in the last, I don't know, 5 games, whatever games that since that losing streak, she's really stepped up. And I think it's because she had to, and because coach probably encouraged her to this is what we need to see from you. And I'm like, if you're looking at other players, that leadership isn't going to come from players who haven't been on the team for a long term. It was going to come from Brown and Crooks, but Brown is out and Crooks is trying to do her thing, getting in double digits, doing what she can. Leadership is tough coming from a post player, and it needs to come from a guard.
You just made me nervous talking about that, because I remember in softball when some people just don't like to be vocal. And we used to have practices where, like, in softball, your shortstop and your second baseman have to be the most vocal people. And some of the players that I played with just were quiet. And we would have practices where no one was able to say a word except for those girls. And I just remember them being so uncomfortable. And sometimes, you know, like, people just play better through actions, you know, and they're quiet people. They're not as, like, vocal as maybe you and I. So it just, I like that you made that point, because everyone's a little bit different and people have to understand that as well. But
yeah, we should not be turning it over. And circling back to your question, yes, we should not be forcing passes into Crooks down low, and we should probably know by now that that's not always open. But I think it's been a fail-safe for so long that it's kind of just like a robotic, like, oh, the clock's running down and nobody's open on the arc. We're going to try to pass it into Crooks and see, like, what
and
works.
hope it works. Yeah, it makes sense.
Hope and a prayer.
It makes sense. But now I feel like Iowa State doesn't have to. I hope that they understand, like, they don't have to do that, because you have, you know, Sydney Harris, you have Jada, you have AJ. People are making threes and are able to do something with the ball, not just Audie, which is going to make this, you know, Iowa State team scary come postseason. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm
Upward trending.
Yep. I'm liking this team. I'm liking these post-game shows.
Keep the momentum. Keep the energy.
Keep the momentum. We love it. Well, Iowa State plays BYU on Tuesday. It's a late game, so be ready. Make sure you guys tune back in. Chelsea and I will be back here for the post-game show. Shout out to our sponsors, Karl Auto Group and Fairway Meat and Grocery. And thanks to Aiden for producing. Go Cyclones.